Kia ora and welcome back to the channel. Here I am up on Ruapehu. It is a beautiful day, nice blue skies, a bit of cloud around. I've just come off the chairlift over there. You can see the beautiful, impressive Pinnacle Ridge up here behind me. And today, this afternoon, I'm heading up a few hundred meters and a couple k's south of here. And we're going to go find a place we can camp tonight. As you can see, there's still big patches of snow around, and there's quite a lot higher up. All the water in this stream here is snow melt coming down from higher up, and the snow here melts from above and underneath, and as you can see, all this water is melting off from it. And so I want to avoid patches of snow that are in the valleys and on top of streams like this, because the middle of them gets real thin and you can fall through into the stream underneath. As you can see, there's a big pool of water down there, and that would not be fun. This is kind of one of the things I'm looking for when I choose my camp spot. I either want some snow around so I can melt that down for water tonight, or be next to one of these streams. Here is an old magma flow. You can see all the marks and patterns in the rock there. As it's called, it's settled that way. I've actually made a video on climbing Ruapehu before, and I went up to Dome Peak and to the Crater Lake. When I did that, I went up this chairlift here and then down into this valley. I did that in January, but still there's still quite a lot of snow in the valley, and a lot of it will be undercut with streams, so that's why I'm heading up a different route. I was actually here on Ruapehu 2 weeks ago on December 1st, heading up, and I was going to camp on the summit plateau, but it was too windy to pitch a tent up. But this time we're cutting over towards Dome Peak again. See that peak way off in the distance there? That's Hauhangatahi. That is the oldest volcano in the Tongariro area. It's about 900,000 years old, and for comparison, Ruapehu is about 200,000 years old, and Ngātahoe off in the distance is only about 7,000 years old. These big boulders here would have been deposited by glaciers nearing the end of the last glacial maximum as the glaciers retreated away. It's unlikely these were erupted or have been dislodged, because something this heavy with a lot of momentum is not going to stop like that. This here is the lower Whakapapa Valley. Those clouds up there are coming in from the south. There's a small southerly coming through, which means we're going to have some colder temperatures tonight. So I want to find a place I can sleep that is out of the wind. on my way up I'm just scouting for places that I might set up camp. I've got a fly, I haven't got a tent, so I just need smooth ground like this. Right here's a nice contender for a campsite. Could put it in or down here. It's nice and smooth and there's not much wind, and I could just scrape away some of these rocks, and I've got 2 mats so it would be comfortable, and there's snow over there. Another about 100 or so meters higher is Glacier Knob, and there's a concrete bunker pretty much there that I believe holds all the volcanic monitoring stuff, and I could pitch up and sleep on one side of that depending on where the wind's coming from. So I might head up there, and if that's not a good spot I'll probably come back down and take this one over here. Look at this, this is beautiful. Some big cliffs. And up there is, behind the clouds, is Plateau, which is the 3rd highest peak on Ruapehu, and hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be at the top of it if the conditions are good. Some of that cloud is cleared. You can see all these huge rock falls off the sides of the cliffs there as we get further into December and the snow melts away. It dislodges and loosens a lot of rocks, and they all come down like that. I've spotted Glacier Knob and the little concrete shed on top of it, but just across the way there. And here we are. This here is the volcanic monitoring shed, and yeah, I'm glad I came up here because there's very little wind. You can actually see the high point Plateau poking through the clouds a little bit up there. In terms of where I want to put my mattresses down, I reckon just here, right in front of the door. And there we go. That's where I'm sleeping tonight. We'll have some amazing views tonight. This will probably be one of the coolest places I've ever camped. I mean, with views like that, it's just incredible. I do have a fly here, which I can put over. Not quite sure how dry the air is up at this altitude. I wouldn't be surprised if it's really dry or really damp. I reckon it'll be quite damp with all the clouds coming over, because they'll be bringing moisture in from the south, which will be cold. This is also going to be the highest altitude I've ever camped at. The monitoring shed here sits at a little over 2,500 meters. We're actually at the same elevation as Mt Ruapehu, so that's quite cool. I'm just going to set the fly up. I've only just bought it, and it's a 2-person one. It's a lot bigger than I realized, but that's alright. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to tie it up. I'll put one of these lines and wrap it around a rock. Rocks like this one here are very light, just the way they've been formed. So you want something more solid like that. That will do. And finding little rocks like this that I can tie the guy lines around. Right, here we go. I've got the fly set up. It does sag quite a bit in here by the door just because there's a building in the way. There is a bit of a breeze that comes in and picks it up, but I'm counting on the breeze mostly being sheltered by this, and this is going to be keeping the moisture off me tonight. You can see I've tied up all the guy lines by wrapping it around a rock and then bracing it with heavier rocks. So you can see it over here, wrapped it around that one, just kind of piled some on top, and over there too. So I've got my sleeping bag set up. I'll bring in my bag from that side, and I'll have to tie that end down. But yeah, very comfortable, and I can't wait to get some hot food on the go. gonna go get some snow to boil up. Just get down to some of that deeper snow, which is a bit cleaner. Snow doesn't boil down to much, so even though I've got this filled, I'll probably only get about a third of that in water. That's all melted down now and it's starting to heat up. There we go. The fly is holding up well. Now that the wind's stopped, it's not flapping. It's a shame I can't really tighten up this side, but it's not on the ground, so that's good. Goodness, it's chilly. Let's not fall off this. That breeze brings down all the clouds, and the clouds are all carrying moisture, so it's chilly. It's going to be a chilly night. I'm going to chuck in a sleeping bag liner just for an extra layer of warmth. This is amazing. It's cold. Yeah. This is what living life's about. It's so cool. Right, I'm in my sleeping bag now. I'm going to head off to bed. The breeze just wrapped around the sides of the shelter, and the fly is just too big to fit up here, and with all the rocks and such, so it was just blowing everywhere. So I've chucked it in there. Right behind the right behind the shed here is actually perfectly out of the wind. But you step around the corner and it's not terrible. The wind isn't like terrible, but just, you know, for the way I had the fly set up, it just wasn't going to work, and I couldn't get any sleep, and it was blowing in my face, and I corrected it a couple of times and even lowered it to the ground. But so yeah, let's see if I get some better sleep. It's still quite breezy. It's definitely a bit nicer now that I don't have the tent, the fly flapping around in my face, and I can watch the stars. So I think I'll sleep a bit better now. Right, all packed up. It is almost 5 p.m, but there's no way I'm getting up the high peak of Taitonga in the winds. It's just been real windy overnight, and it's going to be windy up there. So I'm just going to head up to Dome Peak for sunrise, and then go from there. see the mountain's shadow. It's chilly, having some snacks, got a nice view of the summit plateau. I'll probably head down there in about half an hour, but I'll just spend a little bit longer up here, have some food, enjoy the crater lake and the sunrise. Just ascended from down there. Just gonna get into a bit of shelter out of the wind quickly. Just gonna get in behind this moraine wall here and sort out my pack. Got my crampons on now. Beautiful. I do love the crater lake, but it was so windy and the wind was so cold I just couldn't stay out there any longer, so I've come down. But now I'm going to do a little bit of exploring and just checking out the summit plateau. Here we are, Cathedral Rocks. I'm just going to go up to here and take my pack off. Water in my water bladder is liquid, but all the water that was in the tube here is frozen, and it's kind of like, you can kind of hear it crack a little bit as you go through and break it up, and the nozzle's all frozen, so I haven't got liquid water at the moment. I have to take it right out of there. Right, I've just had some food. The Cathedral Rocks just up here behind me, but it's a bit steep up there. Might go and check out this cool rock formation up here though, and we should get a nice view out towards the desert road. You can see the crater lake. You got a good view of the summit plateau. There are actually 3 summit craters on Ruapehu. The first crater is of course the Crater Lake, which is the currently active one, but there are 2 here under the summit plateau. There's one that takes up this basin here, which is the one we've walked across, and then there's this northern one here. And the ice in some parts around here is over 100 meters deep. I'm trying to stay out of the wind as much as I can. Down below me here is the Whangahu Glacier, and of course that feeds into the Whangahu River, which you can see goes out there and then heads south. You can see another river over that way, and that comes from this valley on the other side, and the glacier over here. This glacier up here is the uppermost beginnings of the Waikato River. Snowmelt and rain that falls here will drain out the Waikato River. In the middle is this ridge that separates the 2 valleys. Now snowmelt and rainfall that occurs on either sides of this ridge will be separated into these 2 valleys and enter the ocean at 2 different points over 300 kilometers apart, despite the ridge being, you know, a couple tens of meters wide. I'm back down now. I'm gonna put on the pack shortly and get going. We're gonna head that way. I was gonna go up to Hikinga High Point there, which is over 2,700 meters high, but that wind is just brutal and cold. It's definitely doable, but it just wouldn't be fun, and it's quite exposed once you get past all the jagged peaks on this side, and so yeah, I might put that off for another time, just because it wouldn't be a very fun thing to do. But we're still going to head that way, and I'll look at them from underneath, and we'll get a view into the valley on the other side. You can see all these rocks and boulders here. They've all tumbled down off these cliffs and rolled to a stop here. Here's the big one. Lots of it's solid ice still. You can kind of see under the water there's actually a layer of ice underneath it, and on the sides here that's surrounded by little ice walls. That stream is draining from this meltwater pool out that way. Back over the other side. Right, I'm ready to head down. The crampons are great for descending. They can stick to the snow. You can see Taranaki off in the distance. It's a nice clear day. There's my destination. Yeah, back on the gondola. Bit of a shorter trip, but a nice change of scenery. I've got sunblock in my eye and it's quite irritating. Yeah, it was very windy overnight. It wasn't supposed to be. There was supposed to be pretty much no wind at all. So yeah, it was very cold. The wind chill was well below freezing. I was up here, like I said, on December 1st, and I pretty much tried the same thing. I tried to camp up on the summit plateau though, and it was very windy, which was also unforecasted. So twice now in the last, half a month, the wind has caught me out up here. But we got to do a little trip this time and a little bit of exploring. Didn't get to do the high peaks sadly, just because it was so windy and the wind was so cold. Also got some nice use out of the ice axe and of course the crampons too. It was very icy this morning, so it was quite fun to use those.